Hello, everyone. I'm Beau.
And I'm Aaron.
And this is Old Games Plus, Season 1, Imperfect Works, Episode 4.
Yeah, 4.
If you're just joining us, welcome. Old Games Plus is a show where we on the Donram Network where we go back and we talk about a game that affected us greatly as children, and we've done a recent playthrough, and we compare our experience as children playing this game to our experience as adults playing this game once again.
Yeah, and also how it like formed us through the years in some way or another.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, we'll get right into it here. So where we last left our heroes, they had decided they're going to go rescue Margie, and our JRPG finally has a plot.
Yes, finally.
When I was
20 hours
as a child, I fully assumed that this whole rest of this game was going to be about Bart reclaiming his throne and Faye helping him do that. And I felt
any other game it would have been probably.
Any other game it would have been. All that stuff about Weltall and Faye, the mystery surrounding Faye, they would have been like side items. They would have been like things just to make the characters more interesting.
Yeah.
Because JRPGs typically had very banal plots with really cool stuff going around in them.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought. So we finally have a plot to our JRPG, and we're going to go to Bladavik, the capital of Ava, in the desert.
I'm so glad you can say that.
On a plateau. And so they need to get in town and do a little intel.
Yeah.
They need to do a little digging. And this is a very interesting part of the game because it's the first real city we see our characters in.
Yeah. And
there's just a ton of stuff to do right you walk into town. You've got a lot of freedom to do it.
And the town's actually set up really weird, too. Because, like, you know, most towns in JRPGs on the PlayStation, they would have different districts. Midgar is a great example. You got these different districts, and you have to load in between them and stuff like that, right? Well, in this, the town has different districts. You got, like, your shopping district. You got
There's, like, a world map for the town that you navigate.
In between each ones, you actually go into the world map, and then you have, like, waypoint markers, and you can
there's like a path you can walk.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah, it actually kind of is.
The Legend of Dragoon world map is kind of like the Xenogears big city maps.
Yeah, it's very much like that.
And there's only a couple of these, I think. Shavat, Kislev, Bledavik. I think that might be it.
I don't think... Was Solaris set up like that?
I don't think Solaris has that set up. I think you just walk around Solaris like a dungeon.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was set up more like what you would normally see, where you would load into a different district, but you didn't like pop into the world map or anything. Huh. Interesting. But the capital. The best thing about the capital is, like, on revisits, you don't have to like stop at each district. Like, say you walk into the market district, and you actually want to go to the very top, up to the mountaintop of the town. You can just go straight there and walk right through the indicators for the other districts if you want to, which is pretty neat.
And so there's a lot of side things to do here. You can go get that badge. I think it's the hide and seek badge.
Yes.
You go get the hide and seek badge, which I think is your second one after getting the rock paper scissors badge.
Yeah. I've got both of those on this playthrough.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The rock paper scissors is the hardest.
It's the hardest one. The hide and seek one is not hard at all.
You just gotta look around.
So we can talk to NPCs, and talking to NPCs is always a great idea in Xenogears because there's such a wealth of information about the game and its world.
Yes,
and
there's a ton of that, and there's also Xenogears does a really good job of giving you things that you can totally miss them, but if you do it, it'll revisit you later.
And it's really neat because as you're walking around talking to these people, it becomes clear why they don't recognize. And when I was a kid, this is actually a really good thing to mention on the show. When I was a kid, I didn't realize why they didn't recognize Bart.
Yeah.
Why no one realized their lost prince is wandering the streets. And Bart was not exiled. Bart was thrown out, and Shakan, the current despot that runs the show, that sits on his father's throne, that he took by force, told everyone that he killed Bart.
Yeah, Bart's technically dead.
Bart is legally dead in Ava. The last time everyone saw him, he was like 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever. So this grown man with one eye in these shabby clothes who works as a sand pirate. I think I heard him mention once or twice.
He's pretty bashful about that. So he's only said it once.
I think he does some form of piracy in a sandy region.
Yeah. An arid environment, if you will.
Recently, I went to the gym, and my wife is pushing me to go to the gym as a legit concern for my longevity and health. Everyone's spouse wants them to live as long as possible. And I should take better care of myself.
Anyways.
So this isn't her being bitchy. This is her being legitimately, like, hey, take care of yourself more.
Yeah.
And so I took a little long at the gym the other day, and she was kind of antsy to get somewhere. So she said something. I sent her the gif of, hey, this whole operation was your idea, Anakin. And she's like, I'm so fucking sick of Anakin Skywalker. And it took everything in my power not to text, it's treason then. Like, the gif of Palpatine. Like, it took everything in my power. Like, I had it already on send. I was like, that's so good.
I respect your restraint, because where our roles reversed, that would have gotten sent by me.
But we mentioned sand, so we have to talk a little bit about Anakin.
Yeah.
And sand and children.
It never goes well. Never, ever goes well.
So you can run around, and there's a festival you can take part in.
Which is super cool.
And eventually, you guys find out that there's a nun from the Nissan sect in town.
Yep, she's hanging out at the inn.
And Bart's like, okay, let's go talk to her.
Yeah.
So you go in, and you guys speak to her a little bit, and she's like, oh, you're here to rescue the Holy Mother. And Bart's like, yeah. And she's like, cool, let's... and it's very fascinating, because we're kind of getting the sense that even the Nissan people don't know who Bart is.
Yeah, we
get that sense a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, what's weird is
it just seems like he's a sand pirate that's a good child of the church.
But at the same time, there's like two of them.
Yes.
Who seem to know.
And Margie obviously knows. We're led to believe. Anyway, she says we got to come up with a plan of attack, and Faye and Bart kind of put their heads together. And this is over the course of a couple different story beats, but the gist of it is, we'll just go ahead and get to it, because I don't remember this affecting me much at all, but you guys need to understand it for the narrative. Bart's like, hey, there's a sewer system that runs into a canal or something.
Yeah,
it's some waterway.
It's the waterworks.
It's how the castle gets its water. I could swim up that.
Yeah.
It's against current. It'll be hard, but I could do it. I used to play down there all the time as a kid. I know it's like the back of my hand. But we need some sort of diversion. If only there was some sort of thing, a kung fu guy I'm traveling with. Hey, there's a martial arts tournament.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
They have one every year to celebrate. I'm going to mess with my mix here a little bit, guys. I keep seeing my numbers pop all over the place. Pop, pop, pop. So... It's funny, because every time we talk about the progress of the show, the first thing that comes up is audio.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but I listen to some very successful podcasts that sound like ass.
Yeah.
One guy is literally mic'd on a iPhone speakerphone.
Ugh.
And these are successful.
if it works.
These are successful podcasts. I really think people connect with the pathos of a show more so than the...
Yeah.
That is not to say we're not going to continue working on this audio. That's what... Patreon supporters are helping us with and everything. We're going to continue working on this, but I really believe the energy and the personality of the show is what gets through to people. All I'm saying.
A lot can be forgiven if the content is good.
But I don't think it can be forgiven if you're just going to leave it sit. I think you should continually work on it. So, guys, just know that we are working on it. I know that we have a lot of fans of those Poppin' Peas. You will be remembered. We won't get rid of them entirely.
At least we don't sound like we're talking into a tin can. I mean...
A lot of them do. They have that hollow sound. But anyway, I always just remember that, like, the guitar Van Halen 1 was recorded on by Eddie Van Halen was probably like a $160 guitar, all said and done. He literally bought junky parts to make the Frankenstrat. So, because he didn't have a whole lot of money
yet.
But yeah, by the time he went, he was doing pretty well for himself. Anyway, there's a martial arts tournament, and Faye's like, yeah, I guess I could do that. It's like, come on, man, come on.
It's funny because, like, if you play through the segment and you read through Faye's dialogue, like, Citan and Bart are all about this idea. They're all about, like, yeah, I know this is great. This is freaking great. And it's Citan who, of course, it's Citan who pushes really hard on it. Because I just assume Citan knows something, but who knows?
Actually, that's something I wanted to point out is every time people are making plans through this entire portion of the game, much further than what we're talking about now even, Seitan always kind of gives these little proddy thing, like, are you certain that's correct? What if we did it this way? And he always brings it up as if he's playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
And it's something when I was a kid, I just thought, wow, this guy seems to have it all figured out.
He's the smart guy.
But he's letting them figure it out on their own. Like, even though he's smart, it was like, this kind of cool. He's not being an ass about how smart he is.
Yeah, like when I was a kid, I got the impression like he was a teacher. Like they call him Doc, and he was a medical doctor.
I really got a very patronly vibe off of Seitan when I was a kid.
Boy, was that inaccurate.
Yeah. So anyway,
but yeah,
it's settled. And Faye's on his way to sign up for I think you play as Faye going to sign up for the tournament first.
Yeah, so
the tournament starts and you do the BART sequence.
Yeah, what you do is you finish up your business in town.
Well, I brought that up because I want to say something. When you play as Faye going towards the register, there's an event you can trigger, but it doesn't always. Did you trigger it this time? I never triggered as a child, ever, not once.
I think, did I?
And I'm glad I didn't because I wouldn't have understood it. But you run in to the dad from Lahan. The dad that left to go work at Bladavik. Have you ever triggered that?
I have before.
Faye has to be alone.
I think I missed it on this time.
It has to be when you're going to, as far as I know, because I never triggered it. This is the first time I ever triggered it. It's if you stop off in the festival area on your way to the castle to register for the tournament. I did it. I don't know why I did it this most recent playthrough. I think I was trying to do a 100% kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he runs into him. You remember, I told you guys to remember, there was a family in Lahan where they kept talking about how dad had to go work in the city and how the wife missed him so much and the kid couldn't wait for him to come home. And they are not present after the city's destruction. And this guy bumps into Faye. And this is such a visceral moment. This is probably the most visceral moment.
I remember this now, yeah.
And you run into him, and the game does the heartbeat thing where it goes, ba-dum.
Yeah.
And it goes red, and the guy is so happy to see Faye.
I remember that.
He can't believe it. A familiar face. Faye! What are you doing here? And Faye says nothing.
Yeah.
There's no dialogue from Faye. He can't speak.
Yeah.
He's frozen. And the guy's like, man, I haven't seen, it's been forever since I've seen the wife and kids. I can't wait to get home to them. I can't wait to go back to Lahan. Do you have any news from Lahan? Oh, well, you know what? I got to get back to work, Faye. And it's so, like, I'm getting chills just talking about it because it's just such a real moment. And because Faye's been doing so good.
Yeah. And this
He's made a friend. He's found a purpose. He's found a purpose. And then right when all that happens, true to life.
Yeah.
What you're running from
nightmare.
Runs into you. And it's an interesting part of the game because Faye, I think he stammers a bit or something.
Yeah.
But there's no real dialogue. Faye doesn't try to fake it. He doesn't say, everything is fine, nothing happened.
Yeah.
He doesn't, break down and cry. He's, because what would you say?
Yeah.
And
it's one of those things that's happening so fast. This guy's, excited and talking quick, and you're just sitting there, trying to even understand what's happening.
And what I love about it, the more I thought about it going into the show, thinking about what I was going to say about it, is the heartbeat happens and the screen turns red. But we're never given a hint about that event happening again. Whatever the supernatural secret around Faye, it has nothing to do with that. It's just the sheer emotion of the situation. And it's just such a real moment and just an excellent example. This game was written, if we haven't mentioned it, by the husband and wife duo Tetsuya Takahashi and Soraya Saga. And they're brilliant.
Yeah.
They're brilliant writers. I hate that Soraya Saga hasn't written for a game.
Yeah.
I think because she was let go after Xenosaga 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, she was.
The higher-ups in the company were like, we don't need you anymore. And Takahashi soldiered on. I want to believe that they went home and she's like, look, they fired me, not you. There's no reason for you to stop working. I want to believe that there was some reconciliation between. I mean, I don't think that she would have blamed, but I want to believe that not reconciliation is the wrong word, but I want to believe there was some sort of no hard feelings if I go back and keep working for
at least towards each other. I imagine though they worked so often as a duo. I imagine that was kind of a hard blow for both of them.
And it's not something that gets brought up a lot. You read that it happened, but you don't read a lot about the whys or whatever. And it's just a shame. So, Xenoblade, she hasn't touched that series. She's got nothing to do with it, officially.
Yeah.
But again, who's to say Tetsuya doesn't go home?
He's bringing his work home, I'm sure.
So, but anyway.
Yeah, I missed that. I don't know how I didn't trigger that on this playthrough because I've been making it a big point to, talk to literally every person I could run into.
You don't talk. You're just walking. You're just walking. And
I wonder how I missed that then. That sucks because I would have liked to have seen that again because I have triggered that before.
So
I missed
good.
it on this one. That sucks. I missed that.
So
I might have to load up an old save and play that again.
But our plucky hero makes it to the tournament.
Yep. Yeah.
Surely nothing else will remind him of Law.
Oh yeah, no, it's freaking awesome because like especially after that, and Faye's like, all right, cool. I made up this stupid wrestler name basically.
Oh, you get to pick your wrestler name. Which one did you go with on this recent playthrough?
I went with the.
I always picked the one with dragon in it. Is it like the wandering dragon?
Well, so you get to pick it separate. There's like
there's a verb,
slacking.
There's a verb and a noun.
The wandering, lazy, young, something, and then like you get like dragon slayer,
not verb, adjective. Sorry,
squire, slacker, and a couple other ones. And I think I went with something like the lazy dragon slayer or something like that, or the young slacker. I don't know.
Young Slacker sounds like a 94, 95 WWF thing.
Yeah.
Before Vince handed the gimmicks over to the wrestlers and he was just coming up with this awful shit.
Yes.
Kane was Dr. Dwight Yankum, the dentist.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Like,
I mean, he does make a creepy dentist, I guess, but I mean, I hope Vince looks back on that and looks at all the money that the personality of Kane has made him and regrets his choice.
Stone Cold has said in interviews and stuff that he, like, Vince basically, after Nitro started, he just went to the locker room and was like, guys, like, I'm not handling this very well. So
really, Vince? We couldn't tell.
Maybe we just put a pin in all these crappy gimmicks and you guys do what you want. Just on a little side note, I could still remember being a kid seeing the King of the Ring where Stone Cold first said Austin 316 and like it's so overused now, but
at the time,
like, gosh, that was good. It was so good.
I got reminded of DX, the original run of DX.
Yeah.
I watched an interview, or it was part of a documentary of Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Vince McMahon talking about how TBS was going to pull Raw if they didn't make DX quit being so vulgar. Because I mean, they were
TBS. I thought it was on USA.
Or was it SmackDown?
Because TBS is Turner, so that was
one
Nitro.
of them.
Yeah.
It was I don't know if it was Raw or SmackDown, but it was TBS that sent the letter to
It's weird.
But then again, also TBS like owned all those companies. Like they were all one of them's a parent company, but whatever it was, TBS sent a cease and desist, basically saying if you guys don't cut DX down and make them not vulgar, we're taking you off the air. And DX did the reading of the letter, the state of the address, where they're like, between the hours of such and such, we will only use the words of, and
when it said what words they weren't supposed to say, they read.
Yeah, they actually read it.
They read them.
They read the letter that TBS sent them, and TBS bleeped it as it was playing,
which is hard to do because it's live TV.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
But then TBS loved it because their ratings went higher than TBS had ever seen. Yeah. And so they were like, "All right, DX, do what you want."
But wrestling's full of cool stories like that. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, you make your name, you get backstage to wait for the tournament to start, and Faye's probably thinking, you know what, I guess I can relax before I beat some dudes up, for whatever. No, actually, he gets two surprises. He gets two surprises. Technically three, I guess, if you count Big Joe, but. Because Big Joe's back there bragging about the women
again. Yes, and from what we gather throughout this entire Joe's participation in this entire tournament, people who are sexually attracted to masculine presenting people love Joe.
Yes, it's the very typical like 90s.
It's the pretty boy wrestler thing. It's the Adrian Adonis.
He's just so manly that men. Are jealous and women adore him.
220 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal.
You talk to Joe, and Joe literally is like, "Hey, don't bother me, kid."
Yeah, I love it. Like every time you encounter him, he's just like, push off.
He's a different person each time.
And this guy has some moods, man.
Yes. So you leave that tent and you go into the air tent that will actually trigger the tournament starting, and you get two little fun encounters. One of them is very ominous and really lays some foundations that we won't know anything about for another 10 hours. And that's you meet someone you're later told is named the Wise Man.
He has a very distinct mask, kind of a frog-like mask.
Yeah.
And he is shocked. I think, hang on, correct me if I'm wrong, but he knows Faye.
Yeah.
And he's kind of shocked that Faye doesn't know him.
He's amused is the way it reads.
Yes, I couldn't because I remembered he reacted to Faye not knowing him.
Yeah, because
I couldn't. He's kind of like, oh, so that's what. Yeah, because he's like, oh, so that's what happened.
Yeah,
that's how
he basically
it is.
fucks with him. He's like, hey Faye, how's Lahan? Been a while.
I forgot.
Yeah. And Faye's like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, your brain still doesn't work. Huh? And Faye's literally like, who the hell are you? And the wise man, he goes, huh, and walks off.
Yeah.
He's worse. It's a worse mind screwing than what Graf gave him.
I feel like Satan's outside of the tent with a notebook. Going, damn, I wish I thought about that. Damn,
taking notes, twirling his mustache.
You know what? When we get to Solaris, I'm gonna take you out to dinner, Faye.
You'll get that reference later.
Yeah.
Wise man leaves, and you're like, wow, that was like, I wonder what that's gonna be.
That doesn't happen again.
I hope that doesn't happen a bunch of times.
And then guess who we get to see?
Oh God, yes, the most traumatic and awful thing. Good old Dan.
Dan has entered the tournament. Now, what's funny is Dan gives the impression that he entered the tournament to fight Faye. We have no idea how he knew Faye would be at this tournament.
Because there's literally no way that brat was tracking him.
So
I think Dan entered it because he was angry, and then he was like, oh, goody, the source of my rage.
And Dan is basically like, I am going to beat you. I am going to kill you.
Yes, straight up. I'm
going to make you suffer. And Faye's reaction to this is very like, he's, I don't blame you, Dan.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I don't blame you.
He really wants to talk it. He wants to talk to Dan.
He's like, I want to come to some sort of understanding, and Dan's like, I absolutely don't want to understand you. I want you dead.
Yep.
And so the tournament starts.
Yes. And this is one of the coolest mechanics in the game too, in a really low key way. I didn't know this until this playthrough. So what happens for this part of the game is you fight a round in the tournament. When you finish that round, it switches over to Bart. And then Bart begins his journey to go through the canal and start swimming up to the castle, right? The longer your fight takes with Faye, the more time you have as Bart. And
I've never noticed that.
Like,
that's
say
so
cool. Say you've power leveled and you just blow through the tournament.
Totally something you would not think of as a kid.
Yeah, you can't actually swim Bart up to the castle in time. And what happens is Bart literally will just be there, and he'll be like, holy crap, I can't believe I swam that current. Oh my God. And it also changes how many guards you encounter and how often the guards respawn after you fight them.
Because they're
watching the tournament.
They're watching the tournament. They get interested as Faye gains more momentum. That is so...
Yeah.
That is, and that's another thing. This is kind of something we would talk about on A's or Ages. I love that. I love that because, like, in a game nowadays, Bart would get to the beginning of the sewer. It'd be like, all right, I need to dive in. And then it would pay her. And it would be this paragraphs of text painfully and excruciatingly explaining this mechanic to you. And then if you're Faye, it'll be like, slow down, give Bart more time. Slow down, give Bart more time.
It would gatekeep your progress.
They would have had a story thing where it would have been like they had walkie-talkies, and Bart would come over the walkie-talkie. Faye, you gotta slow down, man.
It's the Metal Gear codec sound.
Just Otacon's whiny, prenile.
Snake, I peed myself again.
It's totally not the right use of that word,
but no, yeah. So yeah, you get that cool bouncing back. You get like, if you drag out the fight, you can give Bart more time. And I don't know exactly how they do it because I tried messing around with this, and I just sat there and I put my controller down and I just let the game run. And I let it run for like 10 minutes of just Faye bouncing in his ready stance, waiting for me to tell him to fight. And then I just killed the opponent. And that didn't really seem to do anything. So I think it actually counts turns.
Okay, yeah.
So what I started doing is I would hit the guys with my weakest attacks and just whittle them down and then have more time as Bart.
Maybe guard a couple of times. So you fight all the opponents you met.
Yeah. Like you fight two idiots.
Randoms.
You fight Joe, who literally the whole fight, he's like going, hey fans, and then the fans will heal him.
They throw roses at him, and it's implied strongly that this is people throwing roses with the intent to say, Joe.
Yeah.
later.
You know, there's a hotel down the road.
And Joe is loving every minute of it. He doesn't even do that much damage to you.
No, his attacks suck.
And the game, because what the game is trying to illustrate to you is such concerns are beneath Joe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that he can't kill you just by looking at you. It's that you're not worth it.
Nah.
Because, bro, there's chicks out there.
Yeah.
You know, there's chicks.
Priorities, my guy.
And Joe, that's what he's in this for, man.
Joe lives by the bro code. That's all there is to it.
And so that fight is not very difficult.
No. It is if you're not leveled very good.
Do you fight Wise Man or Dan first?
You fight Wise Man last.
So
he's the semifinal.
When you come to Dan, you have a choice.
Or the finale, I'm sorry.
You have two choices with Dan.
Yes.
You can...
Yeah, I didn't know this my first 3 playthroughs.
Oh, when I was a kid, I just smoked the shit out of him.
I hated Dan as a child. I hated him because I thought he was a brat. He was because I was playing Faye. I knew Faye was sorry.
I'm the good guy.
Yeah.
What's your
Quit
problem,
being a
Dan?
brat. Like I don't care your sister got vaporized, you little shit. Quit being a brat.
You can just absolutely wail on this kid. And the best
Wreck
part
him.
is, when I was a kid, I didn't realize this, but as an adult, I see it they clearly show that this is just Dan in a rage. He does not have a chance of beating Faye in a fair fight.
No.
And
doesn't matter how leveled you are. I mean, I guess technically it does.
I just love the role playing that there's an answer to whether or not you choose not to or choose to just wail on Dan, because the fact that there's an answer for choosing to implies that the game is allowing Faye to just be like, you know what?
I'm tired of this. And it's so funny because if you do beat the ever living crap out of this 5-year-old, he's laying on the ground. And he's like, I knew I was right about you, Faye, and then he runs off. And Faye's like, well, shit.
It's a tournament.
Yeah.
What am I? It's a very George Costanza moment from Seinfeld. He entered the tournament. He knew what he was going to
do. The best part about so I'll give everyone a little tip. If you are deciding to pick up your next playthrough of Xenogears or your first playthrough of Xenogears, don't try and be a smartass and heal Dan. The game registers that as an attack.
Yes, what you need to do is guard.
Just guard.
If you choose to spare him.
You have to wait 3 rounds.
Basically what it is Dan wails on you and wails on you and wails on you as you guard.
And he gets tired.
And something in him clicks. And he's like...
Kinda, yeah.
This isn't... No, yeah, he's not healed by any means.
Well, it's actually really, really awesome. Because you said, it clicks. Because he literally at one point he's like, why aren't you fighting me?
Yep,
you can see the grown-up side, I guess you could call it, starting to register.
What
maybe
I'm
wrong.
Because what it is he did this to prove Faye is the monster he believes he is, and now he's seeing
that Faye isn't
this gentle martial artist who could just flick him and destroy him. And he's seen this guy, and we have to believe that sprites aren't going to convey this as well as modern graphics would. But the game does a very good job of illustrating Faye is not hard about this. Faye is kind of like Dan. There's a look on his face that would suggest, Dan, stop.
Yeah,
stop. Okay, this. I'm not going to hit you. You're not going to hurt me.
I imagine it's if anyone out there. I don't have kids, so I don't know. But I imagine it's anyone. If you have a kid who's lost in a tantrum. And the kid's just going ham, and you're just literally holding them back, and you're just dude, breathe. It's all right.
And Dan, if we already told you what happens if you wail on him.
Yeah.
If you choose to spare, quote unquote, lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Dan gives you something.
If you choose the Paragon path,
it's not. By the way, I love that in Mass Effect, I replayed 1 on the Legendary Edition that came out for the trilogy. I highly suggest that. Those are legendary games. I love that in Mass Effect 1, I never realized until now, Paragon, you are the hardcore centrist, and if you are Renegade in Mass Effect 1, another reason I can't play Renegade, you're literally alt-right. You are literally a Trumpster.
Yeah.
The end of the game, if you choose the Renegade ending of the game, he basically talks about how he did all this for human supremacy.
Oh, wow. I never actually did.
Yeah, he gives a speech basically I did this to ensure that humans are number 1 in the galaxy.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're totally right. He's totally alt-right.
Yeah.
I always did, my playthroughs were always Paragon, and there'd be certain situations where I was like, nah, fuck this. I'm going Renegade on this one. Like there's an option where you can shoot someone.
Yeah.
I think it's in Mass Effect 2, maybe.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2 has awesome Renegade responses.
And that person, I hated that I don't remember anything about that scene other than that I hated that person.
And Renegade gets toned down in Mass Effect 2. Renegade and because they were real big on it's not good and evil.
Yeah.
It's different choices. And that's not true in Mass Effect 1 at all. Renegade is pure evil. Paragon is pure good. In 2, it more plays the way they wanted to. Paragon is the by-the-book cop, and Renegade is the cop we all want to see in the goddamn movie.
It's like in Lethal Weapon. Renegade is Riggs, and
Murtaugh
is Paragon. Yeah.
There's Lethal Weapon 5 is going to be made. Gibson's directing it. Like, Murtaugh is literally too old for this shit. His children are canonically too old for this shit at this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've gone on way too much of a tangent. Dan wants to give Faye something.
Yeah.
This is not a gift. This is a curse.
Yes.
He gives Faye Alice's wedding dress.
Yep.
And he's like, I want you to look at this every single day of your life. I never want you to forget her.
Yep.
And so Faye is stunned.
Mm-hmm.
But as a kid, the first thing I noticed, it's equipment, and I checked its stats. It's a badass piece of armor.
I was literally about to say that. Yeah, as a child, me not like really reading what Dan was saying.
It was weird.
The very first thing I did was equip that on a female companion, not realizing that canonically I just had Faye take the wedding dress of the woman he vaporized that he may have been in love with, and I put it on a woman in his party, so he had to watch someone fight in that dress,
get blood on it.
Yes, and I'm going to do it again in this playthrough, but I'm at least going to.
It's too good of a piece of equipment not to do it.
But I'm at least going to recognize the sickness of my decision.
But
yeah,
it's a harrowing moment when
yes.
you're an adult, because Dan is a child processing this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very harrowing.
And that's one of those times where like a kid can kids can be either the most pure good or the pure evil of the universe. And right there, Dan was pure evil.
So this brings us to the fight with Wise Man.
Yeah, the finale.
This is the finals.
Yes,
the final match.
And this is a good and
Wise Man makes it perfectly clear. He's here for one reason. He knew Faye was going to be here.
Yeah.
This is not a happy accident, maybe like it was with Dan.
Yeah,
Wise Man's like, I know you were here. I knew you'd make it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, there was no question I'd make it to the end.
Yeah.
I knew you'd make it to the end. So let's see what you got.
Yeah,
let's see how much you remember.
Yes, and it is like in terms of the actual fight. It is when I was a kid. I was mad. Because literally all that happens is Wise Man dodges you and then literally laughs at what you did. And it doesn't matter what death blow you throw at him. Although supposedly there is one death blow that if you throw it at him, the fight instantly triggers the end.
Death blows are the combos in Xenogears.
Yes.
I don't think we've gone over that. You can input combos.
Yeah, like you hit like square, triangle, X.
If it's a named move, it's like a death blow. It's kind of akin to like fighting games.
Yeah,
if they were turn-based.
And one of them, of Phase, it's Ryujin, or I think. If you hit Wise Man with it, it'll automatically end the fight instead of it taking like 5 rounds like it normally does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, he literally laughs at you. Like, he just laughs his ass off. And you can't touch this dude until at one point, literally, he's like, you know what? I'm done with this later, Faye. Like, he's like, you got a long way to go, sport.
He's gauged what he wants to see, and whatever it is he's wanting from Faye doesn't have it. He's no use to Faye. But he's confident he'll get there, and he sort of pieces out, forfeiting the tournament. Yeah,
and Faye wins by default, which pisses off the crowd, but is, what are you going to do?
Now, Bart's having a lot better luck. So Bart swims down this canal he knows so well, and he comes out under the castle in a room.
Yeah,
and
it's like a waterworks / machine room kind of thing.
And you can talk to this old man here, and he makes it clear that he's never let nobody down there except the prince.
Yeah, only the young prince has ever been down here.
Only the young prince has been down here. Everyone else is going to mess up my stuff. Shakan doesn't come down here. He'll mess up my stuff.
He won't dare come in here. And Bart,
he lets you pass Because you remind him of the young prince.
Yeah. Bart's like, haha, you haven't changed at all, have you, old man? And he's like, oh, old man, no one but the young prince ever called me that. Why, you motherfucker? And then like
nobody but the young prince ever had that walk. Nobody but the young prince.
No one but the young prince looked exactly like you, minus the eye patch. And Bart's like, yeah, when I was the young prince, I was funny to you. Bye, old man. He's like, that boy reminds me of something.
I, Bartholomew Fatima, rightful heir to the throne, will now leave and reclaim what is rightfully mine. See, old man. And as he walks out, that old man's like, I can't put my finger.
You know, the young prince used to brag like that.
So Bart's in.
Yes.
He's in, man. And
this is, in my opinion, one of the most annoying dungeons in the game.
But we're kind of getting snippets of who else is in the castle at the moment.
Yes. Yeah, we get a gigantic one at one point, but then it's like left to the dust.
This is kind of a neat thing for me when I was a kid, because I remember it was strongly implied that a male and female were naked in bed together. Because it cuts to a scene of Ramses and Miang.
Did that happen here?
No, come on.
Hold on, I'm thinking. Like,
no, I'm talking to myself. Like, it doesn't happen.
Because like I know exactly what scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
But like while you're sneaking through the castle, you get
Ramses is there when you rescue Margie.
Yeah, Ramses,
because he's there to interview Margie.
Yeah, he arrives on his battleship. They dock underground.
Yes.
He goes and talks to Margie for a little bit.
Well, because he was invited to watch the tournament.
Yeah,
he's
he got
like,
bored.
This is ridiculous.
And leaves.
You know, this is stupid. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to watch these stupid land dwellers do this.
Yeah, it's boring to him. So he bails on that. Miang watches it.
Yes, Miang's very interested.
Especially, I forgot about that part during the tournament.
We forgot about this.
Where she's like, oh my, who's that cute ponytail boy down there?
And God, this writing is so perfect because Miang seems like she's like, oh boy. Like, who is that fine specimen of a man?
Yeah.
And the only reason she's doing that with Faye is because obviously she didn't get a good view of Joe.
Yeah,
because otherwise, I mean, she'd be throwing herself in that ring, brother.
But how could you miss that chin? I mean, honestly.
But, dude, I forgot about that. That's very good.
I forgot. I had almost forgotten about that.
But basically, what we need to take from the scene is Miang is broadcasting to everyone around her, this person is interesting.
Yes.
She's doing it in such a way to where everyone's going to be like, those women can't control their hormones.
Ramsey's got to keep that one on a short leash, I bet. Ha ha.
But she is broadcasting to everyone. And I believe Ramses is present when she says it.
I think he's like getting ready to walk.
Because Ramses didn't see him.
No, and
it's going to be a big deal when Ramses sees him.
And yeah, because he sees him in a little bit. At that point, Ramses wouldn't have given a crap anyways.
Would he?
I don't think so at that point.
Anyway, so
because I don't think Ramses has tied what you're thinking together with Faye yet.
So, we're Bart. We're infiltrating the castle. We're fighting a fuck ton of guards.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really
by
annoying.
Bart's self.
Yeah, you're on your own with Bart. You are playing a literal JRPG on the PlayStation, and you now have to sneak.
And it's trying, and
you can even peek through doors when you go into rooms, which is really cool, and watch the guards pass, so you can get behind them.
Stealth games made to be stealth games are fantastic. Games that aren't stealth games that put stealth sequences in them are annoying.
Yes. So like I used to really hate it because I sucked at it. This playthrough, I was actively trying to be sneaky, and it wasn't as bad as normal. The only issue,
it's just not fun.
That it's if you 100% commit to the role play, it can be, but otherwise it's not really fun. The part that annoys me though is if a guard notices you, the camera will cut over to the guard. They'll get a little exclamation mark, Metal Gear style, and then they sprint at you, and if they touch you, you get into a fight with them. The problem is they run at literal Mach 5. Yes. And unless you're directly next to a door,
like the Green Hill Zone music starts playing.
Not even that. It goes straight freaking supersonic music, and you're just done. Donezo. These dudes hit you at Mach 5. And poor Bart.
Hey, man.
Yeah. And it's so awful. Like, although there are really, really funny moments, since you can control the camera, there was more than once where I came around a corner, turned the camera just in time to see I was running directly into a guard. And so it was so
and the
great.
animation of them running is funny because it's their walk animation, but they're moving
super fast. And they hit you, and they just run in place against you until the game finally loads into the battle. But the best part is...
So you just get the evidence. Hey, man. You're supposed to be here.
What's you, man? The best part, though, is like, it's so good. I was so happy about this happening. Is I came around a corner, turned my camera in time to see I had run into a dude. And what happened was I hit him when the exclamation mark came up and triggered the battle. So I just imagine this guard like sitting there picking his nose, and then Bart full face runs into him. And he's like, oh, God. Jehoshaphat.
So you finally...
You had to wander around a bit, but you do find Margie.
And Ramses has interviewed her already by this point.
Yes, he's already interviewed her and left.
Nothing.
She's played the dumb little kid card good against him.
And you can tell she's playing it. And Ramses knows she's playing it.
But he's playing it too.
But the thing is...
It's so good.
One thing I love about this is distinct. Shakan has... We already know that Shakan literally tortured Bart and Margie as children.
Yes.
Shakan has probably tortured Margie this time.
He wants to. He hasn't yet.
Oh, that's right. He wants to.
Because he's been under strict orders from
Gabler
Ramses.
Won't let him.
Yes.
So
but he
wants to
to
torture her again. In fact, he watches Ramses' interview with her. And we already pick up that, okay, so basically we get that Shakan is Gabler's puppet that was installed.
Yes. But he thinks he's a big man.
Gabler, for whatever reason, didn't want Bart's dad in charge, so they did it. This was Gabler's doing. However, Shakan really thinks he's like, I think it was Don in our discussion, like Shakan is that dumbass. I got him right where I want him, man.
Yeah.
And the whole time not realizing.
He literally at one point is, after he watches the interview of Margie and Ramses, he's like, man, if we don't get answers before them, it's going to mess up my plans. It's like, dude, you got no plans. You got no hair. Shut up.
But it's very distinct to know that Ramses is extremely kind.
Yes, he's very polite.
Very polite. He begins by asking her if she's comfortable, if she has everything.
If she needs anything, she asks for cake.
And he says he'll try and get that for her.
It's very, oh God, this is going to be a great thing that we're going to be able to talk about as we progress over this game. Ramses' journey on his own.
Ramses is an extremely fascinating character.
Oh my God, because right now he's
right now he is cool as a cucumber.
He's okay. I wish I could think of a character off the top of my head to relate him to, but he's this military man. He knows what he's doing. He knows his power. He knows his position. He knows his authority. He's
does
calm.
Not suffer fools lightly.
No, he's calm, cool, and collected. The only time you ever see him get upset is if someone's screwed up because of something dumb. Like he gets onto the leader of the raid on Bart's secret base. He gets onto him because the guy is too obsessed with using his big gun.
And he's too obsessed with big guns, and that's not the way wars are fought nowadays. Gears.
You gotta use gears, and you gotta be able to think on your feet. You can't be so fixated. And Ramses is just this calm, like commanding guy.
Yes.
And then he approaches Margie, and when he talks to him, like he's fucking sweet when he talks to her.
I imagine a British accent.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. And he's very polite, and he's just so kind. And I don't know, even to this day, I don't know if it's an act he's putting on. I don't know if it's because he knows Shakan was a jerk, and he thinks that if he plays this angle, he's more likely to get something out of her. I don't know if he's actually genuine, like really being kind, because he's just he may be this evil ass, but he's also a polite evil ass. You know what I mean?
We are seeking world domination, but there is no reason
to act like barbarians.
To act like animals.
I feel like that's kind of the vibe. Like he's like, I will stab you, but we're talking right now, so we're gonna talk and be nice. Like,
yeah.
But it's so good. But yeah, no, they have their conversation. He leaves. Shakan, he goes on about how, you know what, screw it, I don't care what they say. Get the torture ready. Get the truth serum ready. We gotta get it out of her first.
Yep.
And it's not too long after that Bart finally gets in there to her.
Yep.
They have their little reunion, which is nice.
And I love their relationship because Margie's like, Bart, you're here.
Yeah.
And Bart's like, yeah, of course I'm here.
Like,
why'd you go and get caught, stupid?
Yeah.
And she's like, out of here.
She's like, I had to help. And he's like, how could you help?
And it's funny because, yeah, she really wants to help. She wants to do for Bart what Bart does for her. And Bart just finds that annoying.
Yeah.
Because now you're not helping Margie. You're making another mess for me to clean up. And
he's like, I had to come here and save you.
I was, if you haven't heard, sand pirating. And I had to stop sand. Do you know how much I love sand pirating? Do you have any idea what that means to me?
Margie, I cannot make the best metal album unless I get this sand pirating done and get the experience. I need lyrics. He's totally a hair metal artist.
So we're taking you back to Nissan. You're staying put until I go at least a gold record.
Until I drop this EP, okay?
Anyway, I love that sort of dynamic in that relationship. No way, you're just a kid.
I could see Bart doing that.
So you walk out.
Yeah. Oh, but I forgot. Very tiny detail.
She wants
it's really
to take
dumb.
Something.
Yeah. She refuses to leave without her dumb little pink stuffed animal, which Bart is like, "Why are we doing this? Whatever, grab
it's implied that she found it there.
Yeah, it was there waiting for her.
It was there waiting for her, and she's like, "I just like it." And she even mentioned something about like Ramses. He's very kind.
Mm-hmm.
I like him. And Bart's like, "Oh my god,
like, just leave." What part of I broke into a castle for you do you not understand?
Do you know how fast those cards run? Faye is out there getting his ass kicked mentally, emotionally, and physically.
And here I am talking about a pink fucking Furby.
In Sighton, I'm not sure what he's doing. We're never really sure what he's doing. I'm sure it's fine.
It's fine. It's totally fine. I trust him 110%. No man with glasses would lie to me.
So they walk. We call him Doc. It's very personable.
He's obviously good.
So you walk out of the room.
Yes, and you walk out immediately into a trap.
And
well, not a trap.
Ramses just happens to be on his way back.
Totally bad timing. Ramses and Miang are just walking out the elevator.
She's gonna love this cake. I can't wait to see her face.
I'm so glad I had a battleship fly me to Nissan to get this cake. I'm actually glad I did because it is delicious. Miang says I need to watch my figure. I don't listen to her.
I hope she doesn't mind that I had a taste. I'm sure she.
What is this? Yes, but it's so good because it's literally that moment. They come out of the elevator and he's like, "What the fuck? Where are you? What are you doing?" And Bart's like, "Well, crap." And then like Ramses is like, "All right, dude. I don't know who you are, Mr. Ponytail. Leave." And Bart's doing like, "No way, man."
Yeah, he gives him like that. He's like, "Look, dude, just let me speak to you in a manner you understand. Listen here, dude. It would be tubular for you to leave." Yes, this rabble.
Yes.
And so Bart again does.
Yeah, Bart's like, "No way." They get into a fight. It's weird. Because it's Ramses and Bart with Miang and Margie acting as support, uncontrollable support.
Yes.
It's a tough fight, even if you've power leveled. Mm-hmm. It's a decently hard fight because Ramses is a badass. But you win the fight, technically. Mm-hmm. The fight's not over. It's just your participation ends. Mm-hmm. And then somehow, some way, Faye shows up. Mm-hmm. And we get to watch Faye come in. And Bart's like, "Be careful, Faye. He's a tough one." And then you fight him again. And then after you win that fight, Faye then proceeds to beat the dog crap out of Ramses in front of you. You don't get to see it. You just get to see Faye jump in front of this man, power up one of his death blows, and knock Ramses back like 15 feet.
Yeah. And Ramses recognizes that punch.
Yes. He specifically recognizes the move, and he's like, "That's the same move as that one.
The Demon of Elru."
Yes. He's like, "That guy used it. What the fuck?"
And something in Ramses breaks that moment.
Yes. We don't really get to see a lot of it yet.
Get to see it,
but this is the moment.
But you really get a sense of when he mentions the Demon of Elru, there's like that. There's a finality.
Yes.
To that.
We do get a cutscene. I almost forgot. We get a cutscene, a flashback of Ramses's. Mm-hmm. I hate names that end with S's when I try and make them plural. But we get a flashback of his where we see this guy with bright red hair, a red uniform, and this guy on foot uses that combo and a few others, and he
against gears,
and he destroys them basically one hits gears, and that's what Ramses remembers is some man powerful enough to punch 50-foot robots, Gundams,
he's
basically
punching Gundams
and knocking them flat out.
And there's just we don't dwell on Ramses too long because basically like I love the scene because basically what it is is Faye knocks Ramses out and Bart's like, "Cheese it!"
That's exactly what it is. And they bail. They just fucking bail. And it's so, oh my God, this is one of my favorite things because like the guards are running after them and you get this hilarious like freaking Benny Hill chase moment. Because you go down you go down to an elevator and you end up in Gibbler's secret base, right? And then like they're like, oh crap, now oh no, here comes the fuzz. And like this whole army of Gibbler soldiers come in, the Benny Hill music kicks in, they chase
or perhaps even like Scooby-Doo, like the sunshine and rainbows and peppermint sticks.
Considering how they actually escape them. So I imagine the first segment where they're chasing you through the hall, it's Benny Hill. And then in the next segment, Faye, Bart, and Margie run in. They turn a corner, and they run into someone no one expected to see again, except for us people, because she had a character portrait. They literally run smack face into Ellie.
And Faye is like, Ellie.
He's like, holy crap, Ellie. And Bart's like, it's a Gibbler officer. Kill it.
Yeah, because Bart's doing the, hold me back, man. Hold me back. And Faye's like, no, she's a good person.
She's cool.
And Bart is like, all evidence points to otherwise, but you know what?
He literally goes, at one point, he goes, Faye, she is wearing a Gibbler officer's uniform. She is not a good person.
And so she lets you duck in her quarters.
Yeah.
And Faye's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, and it's very odd because Faye wants to know why she went back to the military.
Yeah.
It's odd because he's like, this isn't you.
Yeah.
And Ellie doesn't, her reaction is not, you don't know me, okay? We met once in a forest. You don't know, that's not really her reaction.
No, she's completely like almost shut down.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really talk about it. But yeah, Faye's like, he's like, what's going on, Ellie? And she's like, look, we're not friends after this.
She's like, I'm going to help you one more time.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important to note that Ellie does not take offense to basically a stranger, a strange man, basically being like, this isn't you. You have to walk away from this. In fact, his heart is broken seeing her doing this.
Yes. Especially after she leads him down, because she leads him down to that gear hangar so they can actually escape.
Yeah.
And Faye, he just doesn't understand.
He's like, Ellie, please leave this.
Yeah, he's like, come with us.
And because like it would be a perfectly reasonable response for her to be like, listen, dude, you don't really know me.
Yeah.
Like,
quit assuming you know me.
You're not
met for
my
5
dad.
minutes. Yeah.
Don't tell me how to live my life. I'm helping you out one more time. It's a very like, she's almost like, yeah, man, I should. I just can't right now. You don't. That's literally what it is.
It's very much the vibe it gives because she seems sad. The more Faye tries to help, the sadder she gets about it.
And she's like, look, you don't know what I've done. You don't know who I am. You don't know how involved I am in all this. Let it go and just go.
Yeah.
And Bart's like, good idea.
Yeah. He's like, that's cool.
Go.
Let's bounce.
And I never really thought about that scene with Ramses before, but like I literally just get the image of like Bart doing a humana, cheese it, and then like.
I really wish that if only.
Why was that not his line? That is Richard Honeywood's only mistake. That he didn't say cheese it.
That's the one moment. The one moment he should have 90s translated it. 1990s kid show translation. And let Bart say cheese it.
But anyway, Ellie's plant works. You get out.
Yes, you bail out,
and you do so, putting yourself in no danger, and Ellie doesn't get in trouble. Everyone seems to win.
Yeah.
But Faye carries that with him of leaving. He feels as though he left her behind.
Yes, almost like a fallen comrade.
So you meet back up on the Yggdrasil, and is this the scene? This isn't like an important story scene, but no, I'm sure it's not it. Anyway, now you get back on the Yggdrasil, and Satan's like, oh, you guys are back. I've been doing nothing particular with Sigurd here. And it was, did you run into anyone, Faye? Like, did you have any encounters? How quaint. How was it? Fascinating. Yes. You must tell me about them later. I'm very interested to know how Ramses is doing. How do you know? Nothing.
Nothing at all. It's Sigurd's just like elbowing him, like, shut up.
I don't know that we actually have a scene suggesting that they know about Ramses.
I not in that moment at least. I'm sure. I mean, but like we don't get a direct questioning thing because like you get back and everyone's like, "Cool, we saved Margie. This is awesome." You get this like conversation of Bart and Margie furthering their whole. You need to stop being stupid. Stay in the church. Let me do the fighting. And
she has a moment where she's like, "Listen, you don't know what it's like." To be made to feel helpless when everyone around you is fighting and dying for you.
Which is funny because Bart actually does, even though he does the fighting.
But the thing is, Bart doesn't want to put anything on Margie.
Yes.
Because he loves Margie.
Yes.
We get that. We get that. They love each other.
Yes, and it's supposed to be his burden.
It's his burden. Bart has a very strong sense of duty.
Yes.
He is a king without a throne.
Yeah.
Period.
Right down to his literal blood.
So he has this moment, and we're making a lot of jokes about Bart and everything, but Bart is just as amazingly developed as a character.
He
as
really
anyone
is
else in this game, if not more so.
Yes. His sense of humor is very 90s, late 80s, 90s, like cool dude humor.
It's a very hide behind the smile.
Yes,
kind of thing.
it really is. And the moments where you get behind that curtain, like Bart, he's just as broken up as Faye or anyone else. Like no character in this game is neglected. I believe
we've already been told that he revealed that for a long time he couldn't even use whips.
Not yet.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
but
not yet. But yeah, I mean, like,
we'll get to that. And anyway, it turns out Margie's stuffed animal.
Yeah, it's blocking the door.
It's blocking it won't let you through.
Which is funny because it's literally a foot
animal.
tall. Why can't I step over this?
Why can't I get past this? And we find out that this is a person of sorts.
Kinda. So we don't get to we don't like learn name or anything like that. It's very like Cloak and Dagger right now. So like you're like, why is this stupid stuffed animal blocking the door? And then like voice is like, I'm not a stupid animal. And you're just like, Bart's like literally like, who? What? All right,
it's kind of the dancing frog at this point.
Yeah,
I saw it.
I know.
I saw it. Talk.
Because he's like, did it? And he's like, you know what? No, we're gonna go get Margie. She's getting rid of this thing. And then if you try and interact with it again, it's really creepy because it's just like it's warm and has a heartbeat, and you're just like, oh god, ugh. So you have to go talk to Margie, and then the thing gets out of the door, and you can access the bridge again. Yeah, God, I hate that animal. I hate that animal for now. Later on,
it's the most incredible creature.
I love it later. It's just gonna take. It's gonna be 10 hours
now,
before
it's
I get to the love.
It's kind of annoying, but anyway, you get back to the bridge, and
my door, man.
Everyone agrees that the best course of action is to get Margie back to Nisan.
Yes,
that is the first before we do anything else.
The only place that she'll be safe is at Nisan, because Nisan it's both a town and a religion, and it's Switzerland. It's 100% neutral ground.
Neutral.
Yes.
And no one dare, even in this long war, because it's
not even an idiot like Shakan messes with it.
There was one guy who attacked it a real long time ago, but you have to read Perfect Works to find out about that. And it's a very, very fascinating story. And we'll cover that a little bit because I have read Perfect Works, and it does inform my modern opinion of the game. I had not even heard of Perfect Works when I was a kid.
Yeah, no. We never told that until much later on.
But Perfect Works is a source book that basically just explains this unexplainable game to people. So everyone agrees that's the best course of action. That's what we got to do. We got to get the boys are thirsty in Atlanta, and there's beer in Texarkana. So Nisan, it's perfectly neutral, and no one has dared attack it, despite the fact that it is 100% tied to Ava.
Yeah.
It is an important place for Ava, whether the current regime denies that or not.
Yeah.
It makes perfect tactical sense for Kislev to beat the shit out of it, but they don't.
Yep.
They wouldn't dare.
Yep. One thing I'm glad you mentioned about how whether the current regime of Ava wants to admit it or not. I totally forgot. A little thing you can discover that I missed as a kid while you're in the castle. If you go into the castle's library, you can read some of the books, and they're literally in the process, actively at that moment of rewriting history.
That's right.
And Bart has to. You can make Bart. Bart doesn't react to it, but you can make Bart read a book where it talks about how Shakan overthrew and killed the evil Fatima dynasty.
Yes, and it's a very, very details like that make this game stand above other JRPGs. Because world building is not a big thing in JRPGs. It wasn't
typically not.
The world was only as big as the story needed to be.
Yeah,
it only had what the story needed it to have,
and that was it, basically.
And that was it. But there's a living history to this world because they had to give it a living history.
Yeah, and it's such a true to life thing. The idea of having a a government overthrown, a new government installed, and the new government trying to change history.
Rewrite history, even though most of it is living memory.
Yeah.
So they're having to convince people that know better
they
to
have to
stop thinking that.
They got to scare them into accepting it. That way the kids can be taught it. Because once you teach the new generation the new history book,
you're
done.
good. You're golden.
Yeah.
Anyway, everyone decides the best course of action is Nassan. Satan signs off on it because everyone's waiting for his approval, of course.
Of course. Mr. Smarty Pants.
Mr. Smarty Pants. And things are really looking up for our guys. They narrowly escaped. And again, this JRPG has a solid plot.
Yeah, we're still in the works of getting Bart's home back.
All about getting Bart's home back. And we're learning more about Faye, but this just seems to be really good character building. Maybe whatever ability is hidden in Faye will help him regain Bart's throne for him.
It's kind of what we seem like.
Who knows? So I believe that's where our footage ends.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Like in terms of the recorded footage I made, it cuts off right as you basically have control of the Yggdrasil, and you can choose what you want to do.
So our story is getting a plot, and as a kid, I was very excited because I'm like, I finally know what this game's about.
I got something
to do. This is really cool. And on my most recent playthrough, I just love the fact that we're being fed the story this way.
Yes.
I recently read an interview with Jimmy Page where he was basically like, Stairway to Heaven is everything you weren't supposed to do in a song. Like Stairway to Heaven, he literally did everything you weren't supposed to do. And one of those things, and another aspect of Stairway to Heaven that he wanted was that it was going to bloom like a flower. It starts off with just like, one instrument, then more join, then the tempo changes, and eventually it becomes this huge orchestrated, beautiful song. And I really think that Xenogears is the Stairway to Heaven of JRPGs.
Yeah.
Because we start off with a very, 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 very standard JRPG.
Yeah. Amnesiac boy in a little home.
You get exiled for some reason from your hometown. This is literally every JRPG to date,
basically,
by the way.
Yeah.
And then you meet a exiled prince. You got to get a kingdom back. This is just, it's hitting all the beats.
Yep.
And where this goes is just, you're getting hints that something larger is going on, that there's some larger world out there, but you're not really, it's not really a concern.
Yeah.
And so.
Because you're only fed these little tidbits of it, and those could be thrown away. It just makes Faye cool.
Yep. It's, kind of like going to Midiel with Cloud and doing all the live stream stuff. It doesn't really have anything to do with the plot. We're just going to learn about Cloud.
Yeah.
But. And the way that all gets mixed together in the end, it's just it's a beautifully and masterfully made game. And I love that the current Xenoblade 3 hype has people looking back and saying, okay, like maybe there was something to all these Xeno games. And I think you and I have discussed, I'm not personally a big Xenoblade fan. I'm not personally a big Xenosaga fan. Like, I just want Xenogears.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would like.
I'm the same way, like Xenoblade and all those, like I have nothing.
They're fantastic.
I have
Don't
nothing
get me wrong.
against them. I just, more than anything, like, it'll obviously never happen, and at this point, I don't even think I want it to. But I would have liked to have. I would have preferred to get actually Xenogears, like the game fully
the
made,
completed game that we never got,
and then have it. I don't know for a fact if they were planning on doing this or not, but it would have been really cool if we could have gotten like episode 1 and 2, like a Star Wars style thing that continued specifically that.
Well, according to Perfect Works, there's 6 episodes of Xenogears.
Oh yeah, that's right. And isn't Xenogears technically 5 or something?
Xenogears is 5. At the end of the game, it says episode 5 ended.
That's right.
We get snippets of the other episodes in Xenogears. We get snippets of them.
Yeah.
6 is the only one that's a complete mystery. Perfect Works doesn't even touch on 6.
Damn.
Perfect Works even identifies 6 as a mystery.
Damn.
But because that was going to be the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's why some people try and like lump in like
they tried to say that Xenosaga was supposed to be.
Yeah, it's like episode. I mean, it was called like episode 1 and stuff.
Yes, but the episode, but what happens in those games does not coincide with what we were told happened in Perfect Works.
It just has a couple things that are similar,
very lightly similar.
Yeah, big robots.
So
weird saving system.
Not even that many big robots. But so guys, if you like this, comment, like, subscribe. And I personally, seeing stuff on YouTube, I got a comment. I just saw it this morning on our Castlevania episode.
Oh shit, I might have to check that
last night, where the guy, it was Gage, thank you, said that it was the best episode of Donram ever.
Oh man,
the Castlevania one, and
I'm gonna have to look that up. Gage,
I love that stuff. I love seeing that. Mr. Metal, of course, is always right on top of it. Always good to hear from him. And guys,
so little known fact, I'm gonna expose Mr. Metal. He got that name because he's actually in real life a welding teacher.
Wait, really?
I just made that up. I have fucking no idea. I don't know anything.
I believed it because he is an ocean instructor. He shared that with us.
Really?
Yeah. He shared that with us in the Discord.
Dude, Mr. Metal, if you actually are a welding teacher, I am so sorry for outing you.
Well, I don't think that's really outing him. Like, people are going to be like, there's a Mr. Metal subscribed to Donaron.
He's going to get doxxed now.
They're going to find out everything about him. You're going to need to change your screen name.
Yep,
I'm
sorry.
So sorry.
Sorry, Mr. Not Metal.
Very clever. Quite clever. But
yes.
guys... Yeah, this is the kind of stuff we do on our Discord. Like,
yes.
Discord's a lot of fun. Join us on our Discord. There's a link there. Patreon keeps the lights on. We'll be able to do more of this. And again, Patreon, you can eventually bully us into doing episodes on A's or H's. I don't mind that if you're a certain tier of subscriber. Make sure, if you do a Patreon commitment, make sure to do so with a bunch of friends. That way you can find where your friends are committing, and you can commit a bit more and do better than they
Show
are.
off. Yeah.
Show off, you know.
We all deserve to show off occasionally. And then you can brag about it in the Discord, which is extra good. And we will be able to laugh at your friends with you.
In the special channel for Patreon subscribers only.
Yes.
And you get episodes early, too, as a Patreon subscriber. But the main thing is share, like, give us some reviews wherever you are. Give us some feedback in the comments. And, guys, the most important thing you can do for me, though, is just have a great rest of your week.
Yeah. Yeah. Have fun.